911 emergency.
Oxide Engine 2, stand by for emergency traffic.
Go ahead, Engine 2.
Oxide Engine 2, a subject not breathing at 454, 454 South J. John. Run card is I-4, cross street is Woolley Road. Subject's a 42-year-old male. Information, he has a history of heart problems. Emergency medical dispatch in progress. Ambulance responding.
Oxide Engine 2 responding.
Engine 2 responding. Oxide Engine 1, Squad 1 injury accident. Victoria Avenue and Woolley Road. Run card is H3. 3 calls received. 1 RP's advising a vehicle's overturned with 2 trapped victims. PD ambulance responding.
Oxide Engine 1 responding. Would you just find one additional squad on this call?
Engine 1 responding. Captain 110-4.
Oxide Squad 1 responding.
Squad 1 responding.
Welcome to FireLine. I'm your host, Richard Hodge. Tonight's show is on Fire Prevention Week. In the month of October, we have Fire Prevention Week, the 8th through the 14th. Tonight's show is kind of a special show for the fact that we have 3 agencies never before seen on the same show at the same time. We have Ventura County, Ventura City, and Oxnard City. We have Joe Luna, which is the PIO for Ventura County. We have Miles Smith, Captain, Ventura City, and Richard Rodriguez, who is Inspector with Oxnard City. The theme for Fire Prevention Week is Watch What You Heat. And in a few minutes, we're going to be back and discuss with these 3 gentlemen Fire Prevention Week. Welcome back to FireLine. I'm your host, Richard Hodge. My first guest tonight is Richard Rodriguez, Inspector for City of Oxnard. Welcome to the show, Richard.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Richard, tell me something about yourself and something about the Bureau.
Well, I'm a fire inspector with the department, and I've been on the department since 1981. And before that, I worked with Miles over in the city of Ventura. So this is sort of like a little reunion here we're having today. But I'm assigned to the Fire Prevention Bureau, and as such, I'm responsible for fire safety inspections, some public education, plan checking, and just about anything else that needs to be done in the field of fire prevention.
We're celebrating Fire Prevention Week, 8th to the 14th of October. How did Fire Prevention Week come about?
Well, actually, Fire Prevention Week was inspired by the Great Chicago Fire, and I'm sure probably a lot of our viewers might have heard of that in the past. It was a real colorful part of American folklore, and that was the fire that was started by Mrs. O'Leary's cow. And you know, I have an opportunity to go out and talk to a lot of kids about that, and they find it very unbelievable that a cow could be responsible for a fire that big. Interestingly enough, some of the things I've read about that fire was that Mrs. O'Leary denied that it was her or her cow that were responsible, but it was one of those kind of things that history grabbed onto it, and she's the victim of that. It'll always be Mrs. O'Leary's cow.
Well, do we have an arson investigator pendant on her?
No, nothing like that, but everybody that's heard about it knows it was Mrs. O'Leary's cow. And that fire happened on October 9th, 1871, and because of that date, that's why the week of Fire Prevention Week always includes the date of October 9th. So this year it's October 8th to 14th.
I wrote 1871 down because I don't even remember this. Richard, what's City of Oxnard doing for Fire Prevention Week?
Well, what we're going to be doing to observe Fire Prevention Week is have some open houses at every one of our stations. So our citizens will be able to visit the station that's nearest them, or if they'd like to see a particular display on an area of interest, what we're going to do is have each station concentrate on what we call a focus area. And what I mean by that is that Station 1 will focus on hazardous materials, And so their display will include hazardous materials, vehicles, and equipment. Station 4, for instance, will have a high-rise display. That's their focus area. And the other stations will have various ones from public education to heavy rescue. And gosh, I can't even think of what the other
Well,
ones
my
are.
station is beach rescue. We're at the beach, Fire Station 6. We do beach rescue, and that's our focus from our station because we're at the beach.
Right.
And then it's logical that we're going to do that. So each fire station, I've been told that we're going to, at my station, we're going to show you our beach rescue vehicles and the equipment that we work to do surf rescue.
Right. And along with those special areas of focus, each station will have information available, general information on fire safety, Fire Prevention Week, and certain things that we think everyone should know to make their home more fire safe.
Great. So we're doing open houses. Are we having any, at open houses we're having static displays, and if the engine company's in quarters, then you'll be able to come and talk to the firemen about Fire Prevention Week.
Exactly. If you have any questions, you can ask them, and we're always available to answer any question that you have.
Okay. Miles Smith, Captain, Ventura City. Let me shake your hand. I tell you, Joe Luna's over here, and when we get to Joe, you're going to have to shake his hand because I can't reach him. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you, Rich.
Miles, tell me something about yourself and your background and what you do for Ventura City first.
Well, I'm an engine company captain at Ventura City at Fire Station number 1 downtown. Been with the department for 15 years and got on just when he was leaving. I think I got his spot. But again, I'm downtown. Our focus assignment at Fire Station number 1 is public education. So not only we're the busiest engine company in the city, we're basically the clearinghouse for all the public education programs, and we'll tailor a program to pretty much anyone from preschool kids up to senior citizens.
What's your involvement in fire prevention?
I'm really not involved deeply in the fire prevention end of it. I'm not a member of the Bureau, our Fire Prevention Division, but we do regular engine company inspections. But I was asked to put together a program for a Fire Prevention Week, and that's in the works right now.
Okay, I know Miles got hooked into this because I got a hold of him, and it was like when he said, "Who can do this?" I said, "Miles Smith."
Yeah, you notice I have a blue shirt and these guys have white shirts.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, Miles Engine Company guy. Well, we're going to break for commercial, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to FireLine. I'm here with my guest tonight, Inspector Richard Rodriguez, Captain Miles Smith, and PIO Joe Luna. We're talking to you right before we left, Miles. Could you tell me what Ventura City is doing for Fire Prevention Week?
Well, we got a really big thing going on. On October 7th, kicking off Fire Prevention Week, we've reserved a big area at the Buenaventura Mall. We've invited all the local agencies, your department, Ventura County, we're going to have the Forest Service, and some other local agencies and private vendors there giving demonstrations. We're going to have all of our apparatus out in the parking lot. I tried to get a county to do a water drop. I don't think they're going to do that, though. But just as much equipment and to develop so much interest to get everybody down there to get the information out there on Fire Prevention Week.
So you're going to have your ladder trucks?
We'll have our new ladder truck down there. We're going to have hazmat down there. We'll have a static display of everything. We'll have the kids be able to climb all over that stuff, at least the city stuff they'll be able to play on. And then we're going to have vendors inside the mall passing out information. We're going to have a chimney sweep. We'll have people there with fire-resistant roofing, fire-resistant plants. We'll have sprinkler system companies, fire alarm companies, and pretty much anybody else that has an interest or has something of interest to the public related to fire safety, we're going to have them on down there.
Is this all week?
It's just on Saturday, October 7th from 10 o'clock to 3.
October when?
October 7th.
October 7th.
That's
Remember,
Saturday.
Buenaventura Mall, October 7th. Miles Smith and his boys are going to be down there with all the fire equipment. Bring them kids. Let them play on this equipment, because where else can you go down and play on a $500,000 fire truck?
That's right.
It'd be great for them. Joe Loon and I have known each other a long, long time.
Hi, Richard.
And Joe, tell me something about yourself and about what you do as a public information officer.
Yeah, I too, like yourself, came from the engine company. Right now I'm working in the role of information officer, fire information officer, public information officer for our community education office. We have Sandy Wells, which is our community education officer. She has public information officers assigned to her routinely. Our role primarily is that of information on emergencies. We respond to emergencies to handle any inquiries from the media, to shield the incident commander from the media, to answer questions from the community, to provide information to the public as to what's going on with the incident. Most recently, that comes to mind, we had a incident that involved a trash truck. Came in as a trash truck fire. It turned out to be acid that was oozing from the trash truck. Apparently, this mixture of chemical that was in the trash reacted, produced a cloud of smoke. Our engine company arrived. They saw a brownish yellow substance actually steaming and oozing from the vehicle. So that quickly turned into a first alarm hazmat call. I seized the opportunity to go around the area and inform the local merchants and also any other businesses that were nearby as to what was going on with the call. So that's just a few of the things that the PIO was responsible to do, to give out information, obviously, to the media and to the public.
In Ventura County, what do you guys plan? What do you got planned for October 8th to the 14th?
Okay, this year we're going to try a little something a little bit different. Traditionally, like Oxford City and Ventura City, we've opened up our stations to the public for Fire Prevention Week. This year what we plan to do is we're going to go out to the community and have static displays in the cities of Camarillo, Simi Valley, and Thousand Oaks. We targeted some supermarket areas where they have a large apron for parking and to stage our equipment. We'll open up our fire trucks. We'll have Sparky there, Pluggy, which is our remote control fire hydrant. He's always he or she is always a big hit with the public, with the kids. So that's what we'll be doing for Fire Prevention Week. And needless to say, even though we might not be in Fire Prevention Week, we always invite the public to come down and visit their local fire stations. All that takes is a phone call to the station, and we can schedule visits, we can schedule tours, and obviously show them all the equipment that the firefighters use on a daily basis.
Okay, what dates? Well, is it Saturdays? And what dates are you going to have?
Yeah, exactly. It'll be on the week of fire prevention, which is the 8th to the 14th, but specifically it'll be the weekend starting with the 8th. I don't have exact location, but that'll be forthcoming with the media release in the local newspapers as to where we'll have those displays set up at.
Well, that's great. It sounds like Ventura County is going all out to, well, we need to stay and keep the public informed of what we're doing.
Exactly.
And show the taxpayers the equipment they're paying for.
Sure. We try to do that ongoing, again, not only just Fire Prevention Week, but routinely when we go out in the field to do inspections. We're always at the ready to answer any questions, to provide any fire prevention pamphlets, to come out and talk about fire safety, especially the seniors. Right now we're finding a high instance of seniors that seem to be the high group that very susceptible to fire dangers. Also, with the theme of watch what you heat for Fire Prevention Week, we're finding that #1 statistics show right now that kitchen fires have actually surpassed that of bedroom fires. So very apropos that the theme for Fire Prevention Week is watch what you heat. Again, large percentage of fires that start in single-family dwellings start in the kitchen anymore.
Well, watch what you heat. We'll be right back after this commercial. Welcome back to Fireline. I'm here with my guests, Joe Lina, Miles Smith, and Richard Rodriguez. We're going to go into a section where I'm going to ask these gentlemen questions, and we're going to find out a little more about fire prevention. What you heat is the theme of Fire Prevention Week for October 8th through the 14th, which started in 1871. I got to tell him. Miles, give me a fire prevention tip.
Well, I can give you 3 fire prevention tips. Smoke detectors, smoke detectors, smoke detectors.
That's great.
That's a great one. It's a simple device that's cheap, inexpensive, easy to maintain, and we're asking people now when they change their clocks back to standard time, change the smoke detector battery. If they haven't got a smoke detector, get one. Get a couple of them. Put them in the hallways close to the sleeping rooms, and one close to the kitchen where you cook.
Well, this sounds a good time for me. Save Our Seniors program is going on right now. If you qualify, go to any fire station and get a free smoke detector. Richard, give me a tip.
A tip. Well, as it applies to watch what you heat, I'd say the tip is to keep some distance between any live flame and something that will burn. Distance is the key. If you have a space heater in your home, make sure that you have about 3 feet of clear space around it. And what I mean by that is from the heater to the bedspread or a curtain or any other combustible material that might heat. You know, we're pretty fortunate living here in a fair climate like the Ventura County area, but on those occasional nights when it does get a little cool, I know some people light up the old space heater, the electric heater or whatever, and you need to be careful with that. Another one would be whenever you're cooking, make sure that your cooking area is clean, no grease that might heat up and catch on fire, or paper towels or dish towels hanging around the cooking area that might ignite. So distance really is the key in that respect.
Excuse the pun. Give me a hot tip, Joe.
Watch what you heat in regards to the products of combustion from charcoal. We had an instance in Satacoy where during the winter we had a family that used the charcoal briquette kettle cooker. It was cold. Their primary heater and the residents didn't work properly, so they brought in the kettle cooker, loaded up the charcoal, set the fire, got going real nice and toasty. Needless to say, to their knowledge, they weren't aware that it was producing carbon monoxide, which, as you know, displaces oxygen. The family of 7 was overcome by carbon monoxide. Luckily for them, that the daughter arrived just as the last person went down. She, one by one, removed them to fresh air, called 911, fire department arrived, and they were able to resuscitate the family. Again, carbon monoxide produced by the burning of charcoal is always very hazardous. It should always be done outdoors. Again, watch what you heat in regards to using the proper use of heating devices and cooking devices.
Miles, I'm having trouble with my gas appliances. Who should I call?
Call the gas company. They're always willing to help.
Will they come out and make sure my wall heater's working right?
You bet. In fact, they got a national program right now in the media informing everybody to go ahead and call the gas company. They're always willing to help. It's a free service. They'll come down and they'll check your heater before the winter months and make sure it's working properly. And I'll give you any information on what you need to make it work right, or if they can't fix it right there.
Richard, I've used my fireplace all last year, burned nothing but eucalyptus. Any hot tips from the Fire Prevention Bureau on that?
Well, when you were burning it, I hope you had a screen in front of it, first of all. But you should probably have your chimney inspected. Maybe one of the local chimney sweep companies will provide that service for a charge. But it should be in good condition. And if there's too much of a buildup, obviously it should be cleaned out. Chimney fire can get pretty good size, and if your chimney is not in good condition, it could spread to the structural part of your house and get into the attic. It could be a real problem. So you want to make sure it's in good shape before.
We do have a lot of eucalyptus in the county, and it's really oily, and it does cause chimney fires. Joe, like to thank you for being on the show. Miles, like to thank you, and Richard for coming down. I would tell everybody that it is October 8th through 14th. Watch what you heat. It's not watch what you eat. I'd like to thank everybody for participating in the show tonight. Remember, fire prevention is everybody's job. Save Our Seniors program is going on. If you qualify, you get a free smoke detector. Any Oxnard Fire Department station will help you with that. We've had a good time tonight. I've enjoyed these 3 gentlemen on this show. And remember, October 7th, Buenaventura Mall.
Week of Victoria, Camarillo, Ojai, and Simi Valley.
And
Saturday, October 14th, open house at all Oxnard fire stations.
thank you very much. And We'll be right back. Welcome back to FireLine. We're going to do our city update portion of the show now, and I have a real good friend of mine, Dennis Phelps. He's captain at the La Colonia Station, Station 5. Welcome to the show, Dennis.
Hi, Richard. It's a pleasure being here.
It's great having you here. We have some film on city update. One of them's a tragic car wreck, and the other one's a truck fire. And if we could we roll that video now, please? Well, go, Dennis.
Well, here we have a truck fire. I think this is in Station 6's area. Is that correct?
It is.
And it looks to me like because the hood's up right now, this has been attended to before we got there. So that's unusual for us to have the hood already up on vehicle fires, whether it be a vehicle or a truck.
But one of the things about this truck was that when you have early access to 911, things like this doesn't happen. This is in a rural area where they didn't have a telephone until they found one. What do you see there, Dennis?
Looks like I see some extinguishers on the ground, and it looks like a storage yard of some sort. I wonder what they store there. I really can't tell. I see some chemical tanks in the background. So we had the problem right away of the fire extending past the engine compartment into the fuel tank and a possible fuel rupture.
As you notice, our crew couldn't get access to the truck on the other side, so we had to come downwind of the burning truck to try to put it out. But most of the truck was totally involved before we got there, because it wasn't a delayed response. It was the fact that they didn't have a telephone and they had to go to a telephone before.
Looks like the firefighters have their safety equipment on too.
Well, I thought particularly Mike Velasquez was doing an excellent job in this. There were 3 fire extinguishers used. You know, there was a small one they started with. The fire got out of control, and they went to a medium-sized one, and it was still out of control, and they went to the big one. And by that time, we had just arrived on the scene to put this out.
You know, I just noticed some chemical tanks in the background there too, so there definitely was hazards nearby.
We had several exposure problems here if this thing would have got out of hand. But we had such a good response time that by the time we got there, the biggest share of the truck was engulfed, and we just used our booster line to put the fire out with.
Looks like the guys did a pretty good job.
Well, in this particular call, sometimes you have electrical shorts. And in a minute, we'll show you about disconnecting the batteries. The truck actually started to try to start, and it was moving on us as we were trying to put the fire out. Have you ever experienced that in your career?
Early in my career, I did, yes. It was a vehicle fire that shorted out, and the car actually started back up again and rolled forward several feet. Luckily, there was no firefighters in the way, and we were all kept safe.
Well, we determined the cause of this fire. We're getting to the battery compartment to disconnect the batteries now.
It's difficult to even locate some of the batteries on some of these rigs. Different manufacturers put them in different places, so they're pretty well hidden away.
Oh yeah, well, you can tell on the guys aren't really having an easy time finding these batteries. And even putting the fire out, you have so many hidden compartments in the tractor-trailer type trucks that just finding a battery sometimes becomes a major job.
I see another problem. We had bystanders cruising around the area, which we like to keep them away just in case of problems or spread of fire.
Well, usually, this time we were in the county area, so we really didn't have a PD on scene where we could have the controller. Here's our director of the show. He's putting out the final insides of the truck, because when we do overhaul on these things, we have to tear the seats out and make sure everything's out before we leave the scene.
Very much like mattress fires. That fire sinks deep into those seats and burns forever.
You can see we've been on scene probably for 10, 12 minutes now, and we're still putting this thing out. But it looks like Engine 6's crew did a really good job.
It's a typical response for them. They've always done well on truck fires.
Here's Mike Velasquez. He's a firefighter from 6. Thank you very much. And now the next call is a call that Dennis was on in the La Colonia area. It was at Rose and Latigo, and Dennis?
Well, actually, it was Rice and Latigo. He was just testing me to see if I was paying attention. We had a vehicle accident reported at the corner of Rice and Latigo, and when we pulled up on scene, our engine noticed just a camper shell and glass in the intersection. And as we looked down the roadway a little bit, about 600 feet, we saw the lower half of a truck body in the bushes next to some parked cars. As we pulled down there and investigated the scene a little further, we also noticed a body inside the vehicle that had been severely crushed and was dead on scene. And unfortunately, that's him under the blanket right now. And you can see the damage to the truck. It was just a terrible accident.
Do you run many fatalities on Rose and Rice and in this area out here now?
Well, oftentimes with the major intersections and trucks and cars coming off the highway, they seem to maintain that high rate of speed. It's unfortunate this particular accident. I don't think the driver of this truck even saw the vehicle that he hit. He went under a semi-truck and sheared off the top of his vehicle.
It's kind of unusual seeing wrecks like this in the middle of the daytime.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Dennis, I would really like to thank you for coming on the show.
Well, it's fun. I hope I'm back again.
Well, I've had a fun career with you, and let's see if we can string this out about 8 or 9 more years.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to thank everybody who participated in FireLine. All the firefighters that work on the show. We do this on our own time. I would like to thank Jones Intercable for working with us, and Lori Kowalski especially. And tune in for Street Beat. It's our other public safety show. And that's the end of our show.
Traffic.
Go ahead for engine 6.
Oxide engine 6, quad 6, vessel aground in the surf. Manly Beach Road at Whitecap Street. Run card is J4. Switch to the Coast Guard frequency Alpha 21. PD ambulance responded information. Call came through the Coast Guard.
Engine 6 copy. Engine 6 responding. Switching to Coast Guard frequency. Squad 6 responding. Switching to Coast Guard frequency.
Squad 6 responding. Oxide engine 1, engine 5, squad 1, truck 1, battalion 2. Structure fire at 10156, 10156, C. Charles Street. Cross Street is 3rd Street, run card is B4. RP is advised there's a 2-story residence with smoke showing.
Oxnard engine 1 responding.
Engine 1 responding.
Oxnard engine 5 responding.
Engine 5 responding.
Oxnard squad 1 responding.
Squad 1 responding.
Oxnard truck 1 responding.
They're here, killer bees moving into Southern California.
A lot more optimistic than they were just 30 minutes ago. But we will keep watching. 7 Eyewitness News.
Captain Ron, thank you for that. Meantime, taking a look at a trial that's captured
upwards of 800 to 1,000 acres. We still have 5 air tankers and 3 helicopters working. The air tankers coming out of Fox Field up in Lancaster. We do have some good news. Those mild Santa Ana winds that were in effect when the fire first started, burning it or pushing it from the northeast down to the southwest, actually pushing it up into the Sespe Condor Sanctuary in the Los Padres National Forest. And that wind has now changed to a westerly or southwesterly wind, which is bringing moisture, cooler air from the coast, and actually is pushing some of the fire back onto itself, giving the firefighters, the 240 firefighters on the ground here, even more of a chance to get some lines around this fire to prevent it from burning further up into the wilderness area. It's actually now burning parallel to the Lake Piru Road up in the upper reaches of Modelo and Blanchard Canyon area, not threatening any homes. No structures are threatened, no structures lost, no reports of any injuries, and no indication exactly how this fire started. But it was a good test for the Super Scooper airplane as Lake Piru was right next door, and they were able to get quick turnarounds with those 1,400 to 1,600 gallons worth of water and show the worth of this fire, the airplane, when the winds were light and the fire was easily accessible. Again, 800 to 1,000 acres, no structures lost. Los Angeles County Fire and U.S. Forest Service and California Department of Forestry working very hard to get this fire under control. This is Bob Petty reporting live from the Channel 4 helicopter, Ventura County.